I was lucky that my early life training was influenced by the culture of better have tried and failed than to have never tried at all. And Dale Carnegie thinking of, you can't sow sawdust, so get up and bounce back. Sadly, some years ago, the UK did not have that culture. You failed in business and you were doomed forever. It's why I think many other economies leapfrogged over us. Today, we're much more entrepreneurial in the UK and freeing ourselves from the shackles of the big banks who condemn anyone who fails. I say all this because my BV-TV WebShow guest today is someone who's not afraid to tell her backstory, and in fact, does it in a very inspirational way. She won it, lost it, and has now won it back again. So let's start the Andrea Albright BV-TV WebShow by meeting Andrea from Beverly Hills Publishing. Welcome, Andrea.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. Very happy to be here.
Hey, it's great to talk to you. Mind, it's a bit cold and damp and dark here in the northeast of England, and I suppose you're enjoying the usual sunshine in Beverly Hills.
Yes, it is beautiful. We've got beautiful beach-like weather, a little bit of chill in the morning, and in the evenings we have to wear light jackets, but during the day it's sunny and perfect.
Okay, I'm going to make sure that this interview feels awfully now. You've upset me. Right.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
I could lie if you want me to.
No. I've been rehearsing for this all day, playing in my Beach Boys California Girls song. Right. This is this Andrea Albright BV-TV WebShow is in our usual WebShow 3 parts. And I bet you've guessed those 3 parts already. Yes, part 1 is won it. Part 2 is lost it. And part 3 is won it back again. It's a story worthy of Hollywood. And that's where we're off to now, to ask Andrea to take us into part 1. Won it. Go, Andrea.
Great. Well, the very first part of my career, I started writing books and health and weight loss. I wanted to help people with their body image and to break free from yo-yo dieting. And I can't tell you how many people said you could never compete in weight loss. It's the most competitive industry on the internet. You're competing with billions of dollars of advertising and you just could never make it. But this thing called YouTube came along, and I was part of the social media revolution where you can reach your market by creating content on the internet. And so I started writing books, making websites, and I began to attract a lot of attention from media, publicity. Flash forward, I reached the top of the industry when Women's Health and Fitness magazine put me on the cover of their 21st anniversary edition.
Wow.
And they said, you are a global thought leader in women's health, because you're more than just generating millions of fans. You are publishing books that are changing the way women see health. So I'm evolving the conversation and the industry. And that's really what a thought leader is. And so that was how I established my first career as a global leader in health.
Brilliant. Yeah. So continue with the story. You were doing well financially out of this?
Yes, things were going very well. I actually had married the person who I thought was my soulmate. We knew each other for 5 years before I ever agreed to go on a date with him.
Right.
We were colleagues, we were business partners, and we were friends. And that first date, he convinced me that we were soulmates. And so we began what many people saw as a power couple relationship. And we would have events in our beautiful mansion in Malibu, 5-story mansion overlooking the Pacific Ocean. And when I got the cover on that magazine, I remember thinking to myself, wow, I have achieved everything I've ever wanted in life. I have financial success. I have recognition as a thought leader. I'm reaching millions of people around the world and making an impact and making a difference in people's lives. And I have my soulmate and partner. And I remember thinking, I've made it. I have everything I've ever wanted.
Wow. Yeah. So tell us the rest of the story.
Well, it was around the time when I got that magazine cover that things started to change. And he began to distance himself from me, and we started to have problems in our relationship. And
Was he jealous? Was he jealous?
Well, looking back on it now, I don't think he could handle it.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
used to being the star. He was the person who was always out front, and I was his partner behind the scenes. But we had an agreement that, I was also going to be a star. And once we got our partnership built up, that we would both have the spotlight. But I don't think he realized how difficult that was going to be for him to have the spotlight, share the spotlight. And he had also always dreamed of having a magazine cover in fitness. That was one of his big dreams in life. And when I had that, when I got that, I don't think he knew how to deal with it. And so I started to say, hey, let's work on our marriage. Let's go to marriage counseling and make this work. But he just retracted. He didn't want to work on our relationship. And I was devastated. I didn't really know what was going on. I ended up actually going to Europe, spending a lot of time in London and France and Italy, and just really searching for myself of like, what's happened? How have I, and I want to be who I am. And it was when I was in Europe that my husband revealed to me that he was in love with my bridesmaid and my best friend.
Right.
And that they were madly in love, in fact, and they were getting married. Even though he was still married to me, they had a marriage ceremony and told everyone that they were now married. And it was beyond devastating, beyond. I mean, the divorce was horrible. It was so painful to separate our assets and our businesses and, lose all of that success that we had created together. But I also lost my best friend. I lost the woman who I thought was my sister. And, I suspected things happening between them, but she always told me, no. And I said, I trust you. I trust you with my husband. You're my sister. And so it was a devastating time of my life. I lost everything financially. I didn't know who to trust. These were the people who I thought were my closest friends. And then there were people in my circle that actually supported their marriage and their relationship, which to me just completely floored me.
Yeah.
And that's when I went to live with my mom, because I didn't know who I could trust. And I actually had lost trust in myself. And as an entrepreneur, if you lose your own trust with who you are and what you're creating, you really lose everything.
Yeah.
And so I went to Texas to be with my mom, and she has a spare bedroom with a bunk bed for my young nephews. And I slept in that bunk bed for a year and, depressed. I had been at the top of the world, and then it was like crash. Everything I thought was real, and my identity was ripped away from me. And it was from that place in the bunk bed where I started to question, saying, okay, what is this about? And how do I get out of this? And the answer that I found was, you have to serve more. You have to create more. You have to dream bigger and help more people. And it was in that bunk bed that I envisioned my new business and becoming a publisher and starting Beverly Hills Publishing. And
okay,
so
we'll talk about that in part two, Andrea. But it's a sad story there. But in the end, well, hopefully we're going to get to a happy ending, but a very salutary story, because at the moment with this pandemic, there's probably lots of couples around the world having some relationships problems, So let's move to part 2. I just love a great success story. There you are in the bunk bed with your mother at your mother's, a year time. What was going on in your mind, and how did you then start to move that mind towards coming from down there to coming back up again?
Well, I thought I was unlovable is really what I had to deal with. I'd had, it's been like 5 years. I can't believe I'm still crying about it.
Mm.
It's taken me a long time to even be able to talk about it, because when you invest and you work so hard to create what you think is going to make you happy, and marriage to me, it's a one-time thing in life. It was a really big deal to say yes to him and to marry him, and I thought I had chosen well, and I thought I had done all those smart things by being patient and looking at our commonalities and our shared goals. And so when he left me for my bridesmaid, I was at the top of my physical fitness. I had never been more fit. And so it was like, well, what do I have to do, or what do I have to be for someone to love me? And that was really a deep, dark time of questioning my worth, my sense of self. And so from that pain and not even wanting to get out of bed, just pulling the covers over and sleeping in that bunk bed like a little cocoon, it was the question of, how can I get out of bed? I kept asking myself, like, how can I get through this? I just got to get through this. And the answer became, you are meant to serve more. And what I figured out as an author, I've been very successful as an author. I've published over 26 books for myself, and I've reached an audience of millions of people in one of the most competitive industries in the world. And I realized, well, what if I can help other authors? Because I know that publishers aren't supporting their authors in reaching their market and making an impact in their market. And so the question, as me as an entrepreneur, as much as I love health and fitness, I had written over 20 books on it. And so I felt like my body of work there was done. I had said everything I needed to say. And I was like, who can I help? What if I help authors to market their books and get publicity and reach their audience? Instead of me impacting millions of people with my books, maybe I can help billions of people.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I'll be behind the scenes as the publisher and the marketer supporting these authors. And it was that turning point that got me out of bed, that got me
did you
back
sort of
to work.
totally jump out of bed that day and wow, eureka, I've got it, I found it? Yeah.
Yeah. I
It
told
must
my
have been.
mom, I said, Mom, someday I'm going to write a book called Bunk Bed Billionaire.
I love it. And when's it coming out?
Yeah, well, I'm just now getting to where I can talk about this story.
Yeah.
Yes, and there definitely will be the book about the darkest point of my whole life has, sprouted. I believe it's truly my destiny. Now
Yeah.
I see that,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
all crumbled because as beautiful as the facade was, it wasn't aligned with my deepest purpose.
Yes, I am totally with you, Andrea. And let's move to part 3, which is our longer part, and the one I've been really looking forward to chatting to you about, because I've put away the paper hankies from part 1.
Yeah, I know. Me too.
It's time to get the glass of champagne out for part 3, isn't it? Yeah.
I'm looking forward to this part.
I love a good ending to a story, and this is a great one. So take us through, won it back again. What's happening?
Yeah. So the vision of, I'm going to become a publisher. I'm going to help authors. that was the moment where I started to create my new purpose as an entrepreneur. And I built a new business with a new brand. And I said, this time I'm going to do it. I'm going to build it leaner and meaner and faster. And I'm going to make sure that nothing and no one can ever take it down. And I can't ever lose anything again. And so really taking that on as the CEO and the visionary. As women in business, I think we feel like we need men in order to verify and make us stronger. And I had always had a male partner for my entrepreneurial career. And this is the first time I am the CEO. I am 100% owner of this company. And so stepping into that has really been a big identity shift for me. Because there's nobody who I'm bouncing my ideas off of, and also there's no one else who's taking the glory or the credit or the recognition for what's happening. And so it has been the greatest spiritual teacher of my life. There have been times where I've been challenged in ways, because it's like, who are you to disrupt the publishing industry? It's a $20 billion industry, and these companies have been around for hundreds of years. And yet here I am. And the name Beverly Hills Publishing arrived. It came to me. And, the fact that that is available and no one has stepped into that and claimed that as their own, I felt that was definitely a sign early on that, okay, I'm meant to do this. I'm meant to do something big here.
Okay.
And we're about to have our 2-year anniversary. We've grown. I mean, it's exponential growth every year. Everything that we're positioning to disrupt the publishing industry. Our authors are getting featured in Forbes and Entrepreneur and creating $1 million investment opportunities off of one book. And so we have incredible success stories around this model of publishing to become an authority in your industry. And I'm the first marketing firm and publishing firm combined. So this approach to publishing is revolutionary, and things are really exciting.
Yeah. Well, let's just talk it through what a client, and obviously hundreds watching this or thousands watching this around the world are saying, yeah, Andrea's for me. I've got the idea. I've got this idea of a book and everything. Just take me through the whole process that you walk your new author through, please.
Yes, excellent question. Well, a lot of people come to me and they say, Andrea, I have the name for my book. Or, oh, I've already written some chapters. And some of even say, I've already written my book. Can you help me? And that's what I want to help people, is that instead of writing your book and then publishing and trying to market it, I do all the marketing first.
Wow.
So by analyzing the market and creating a marketing strategy, instead of trying to sell a book that nobody frankly wants because they're not looking for it or searching for it, when I analyze the market, I know what the market is looking for. I know what the market is searching for. Because I'm an internet marketer, I can see what people are typing into their search engines. And so by looking for those keywords, is what we call them, by going after keywords that people are already looking for and searching for, then we create that marketing hook. I call it a hook because it has to capture the attention of your audience. Now we have the marketing hook. Now let's put your content into that hook. So we help them write the book. We have ghostwriters. If you want us to do the whole thing for you, we do the whole thing for you. Some of my authors don't even write a single word of their book because they're busy. They're running 8-9 figure companies, or they're launching their businesses or their products. And so we do all of the writing, all of the editing. We do the design, the formatting. And then when we publish the book in 90 days,
Wow.
We already know the market is searching for it. We
Just
already
say,
know.
just say that again, Andrea. In 90 days.
In 90 days. We publish in 90 days. Yes.
Wow.
It's
That is
a,
some achievement, isn't it?
and thank you. And, if you can't publish in 90 days, then it just becomes your ego
Yeah.
stopping you.
Yeah.
And anytime people say it's, oh, I'm a perfectionist, it's like, actually, that's procrastination. You're just hiding from yourself. You're hiding from your greatness. You're hiding from being seen. And so when we have the formula of getting you through the roadblocks, the writer's block, the self-doubt, the questioning, and also we know the market is searching for it. We've done the marketing analysis. And if we don't publish in 90 days, the market will evolve. Markets are evolving faster than ever because we are now connected by digital light. We're connected 24 hours a day, 7 days a week by digital light. And so all the marketing analysis that I do in the beginning, we have to be the first to publish because we want to position you as the thought leader. The thought leader is ahead of the curve. The thought leader is beyond the cutting edge. The thought leader is evolving the industry. And so when we publish you, now the market is like, oh, I've been looking for this. I've been searching for this. We don't have to convince anybody to buy your book. And also the third piece of it. So the first piece is the marketing, the second is the publishing, and the third is the PR. So we position you to get you in PR like Forbes, Entrepreneur, Business Insider, because that's what establishes you as an authority. It's not about what you say, it's about what the third party and the major media organizations say about you. And so we pitch you, we get you that PR about the book, and now the book becomes that authority tool. You are now the authority in your industry, and you get to be invited on stages all around the world and have amazing conversations like this about your book.
Fantastic. I really like that strategy. I mean, of the 250 plus CEOs and MDs I've interviewed since beginning of March, which is quite a lot around the world there. Yeah. There were very few have actually thought about the marketing of the book or their strategy. They wanted the vanity, I would suggest, of getting a book published. It didn't matter whether it sold or not or whatever it did. They just wanted to brag that they'd got a book. But I love the way that you're coming at it, because the book is actually going to do some good in the end, isn't it? By your way.
Absolutely. I am passionate about books. Books were my first mentors. I am 100% self-taught entrepreneur. I never had capital or investors or rich family members or anybody who gave me any kind of handout. And so I had to learn all of this on my own. And books have always been my mentors of solving problems, opening my mind. And so I stand for the quality of thought leadership and sharing great ideas for humanity to keep enlightenment moving and raising the consciousness on the planet. And so by serving the audience, you are actually helping them to evolve. And that's what I hold the vision and the mission for, is we start with the audience. We start with the marketing, because really that's who it's about. Yeah. And when you focus on them, then when you run into your stuff of like, oh, it's not perfect, it's like, it's not about you. It's about helping them. It's about serving them. And if you can let your attachment to your ego go, your audience will feel it. They will know that you are there to serve them. And the world is starving for leadership, starving for it. And so for people who are willing and able to let go of their ego and step into true leadership, this model of publishing serves you, and it also serves the audience.
Brilliant, brilliant. Now, just before we move towards our final bit, I want to remind people that on the screen behind me is your URL to take it down. And remember, Beverly does not have that last E in it. Well, check your spelling then, because when you get to the Beverly Hills Publishing site, you're going to find a huge amount of enthusiasm, ideas and everything to help you, or want to make sure that you get in touch with Andrea and her team soon. I've thoroughly enjoyed chatting to you, Andrea. It's been very stimulating meeting you. And I trust the people who have been watching this now and listening are now inspired to not worry about failing or losing it. So thank you for that. But also thank you for a brilliant idea of getting that book to marketplace and making sure that it's going to do something good for people. In this extra special Andrea Albright BV-TV web show, I've been talking to the person who really did win it, lost it, but won it back again. And that's a story worthy of Hollywood. Thank you, Andrea.
Thank you so much for having me, Malcolm. It's been a real pleasure.